Na'Vi has to shine.
Yeah, get that laning stage snowball going. As we head into game one, Na'Vi up against Xtreme Gaming here in the lower bracket, and it is elimination time. It's best of 3. So meaningful for these two squads. As the chat wheel lines already being spammed out. We've seen a bit of banter from Xtreme. And Na'Vi, no slouches when it comes to the all chat either. I'm very curious to see how they'll battle it out in the mind games department.
Yeah. V-Tune's already on the tips, you know, he's not backing down from a challenge. Throws his weight at paparazzi, so calling out the big boy, the superstar of Xtreme Gaming.
Battle it out in the mind games department.
Yeah. V-Tune's already on the tips, you know, he's not backing down from a challenge. Throws his weight at paparazzi, so calling out the big boy, the superstar of Xtreme Gaming.
He was the one that dragged them kicking and screaming through the series against Infamous. Yeah, some spectacular performances. You know, one on his Ember Spirit in particular, causing all kinds of problems. He's such a patient player. He's so very good at skirting the edges of the fights and finding, you know, the backstab onto the position 5s. Getting in this game, I guess, getting in on top of the Drow Ranger is going to be his key target.
We'll see how he fares, and that's perhaps why V-Tune was tipping him. He's like, you play some Ember into my Drow. We'll see how this one goes.
Yeah. He's going to get Gust at level 3 or something.
Yeah. I feel like every carry player who plays a decent amount of Drow, like, almost is excited about the challenge of playing against, like, a Spirit-type hero, because you have the counterplay with the Gust. Like, those Spirits have to be careful about when and how they go on you. You can make some kind of predictive reads with a Gust, so... We'll
It's a max level. It's a 6-second silence. It's no joke.
Yeah.
I think DP silence and Drow silence are 2 spells that always catch me off guard. It's like, wait, there's a 6-second silence?
Yeah. And that's where when DP was being played as a support all over the place. So you wouldn't actually be leveling up your Crypt Swarm beyond like 1, maybe 2 points, and you just get max silence at like level 8 or something, and suddenly you're just silencing like 3 heroes for 6 seconds in a team fight.
I mean, pre-BKBs, that is a massive amount of pain. Now, it looks like Na'Vi doing a bit of lane swapping here, though. Now, Lu is wandering around back through mid. Bottom lane is the Drow Nyx, where DY is facing off against them currently. And they're also bringing Solo down here to maybe not try lane, but just looking for these lane matchups.
Yeah, it looks like they really want this SF versus Tide. They don't want the Tide versus Enigma, so Xtreme Gaming trying to make sure they get some of those, I guess, favorable lanes for themselves, but... I don't think Na'Vi are going to match this swap. If anything, you're going to feel like, okay, we're going to have like a small CS level advantage because they're wasting time running across the map.
Yeah, it does come back to your point, though. And, yeah, important for Na'Vi to get these early advantages to start that snowball.
Yeah, and I think that's why they swapped the lanes, because they don't want to let Na'Vi crush them. Top lane, you can already see this SF is a hero that can cause Tidehunter problems. Can't really use your Anchor Smash Kraken much when you're not laning against the Enigma, so... Smart of Na'Vi, I think, to set up their lanes these ways. You know, they're going to get the lanes they don't want in the end, but ultimately, like, you know, they get that small advantage because of the time being wasted.
Yeah, then smart from Xtreme to walk it, right? Instead of TPing to react, they've always got that ability to react later on.
Yeah, I think both teams have basically done the right thing here. Like, there's no point for Na'Vi to try and play musical lanes for, like, the first 5 minutes where they, you know, you go jungle or try run across the lanes as well. You just say, okay, they swap lanes. This is good enough for us.
Yeah, the classic 2 cores jungling.
Yeah.
1 minute into the game.
And some, like, 5 position has a solo lane to themselves. Like, yeah.
Level 3, 2 minutes in. Yeah, super happy.
Yep. And you see, like, Enigma only still just level 1 because he had to walk all the way across the map. That's kind of the downside of making this big lane swap. And suddenly you're a level 1 Enigma playing into, like, a level 3 Drow, potentially.
And there's still a Nyx Assassin down here as well. Sweden Strong hasn't made the move back up to top, so he's lurking around and maybe even looking for a play into mid. DY is kind of keeping tabs on Solo's Elder Titan, who is trying to keep control of these camps, sentrying, blocking, making sure there's no pulls or drag backs to give that Enigma a better time. And there is the move in towards mid with the chain stuns. A good bit of damage onto Paparazzi. Not going to actually bring him down, but it's definitely a statement there from Na'Vi.
Yeah, get some just efficient harass off, got a range creep deny out of it, so just give no one a bit more of an edge in this mid lane. Plus, you know, swoops on through, maybe, you know, you try and pressure some of these runes. He's going to grab a bounty rune on his way through, so I think feeling like he wants to head top and just making sure he gets something along the way.
Yeah, they got both of them, didn't they? Solo went across for the bottom rune. They've still got this deep observer ward watching bot where the couriers are starting to swarm towards Xtreme's heroes.
Yeah, you can see on the CS, it's Na'Vi effectively with an edge in all three of these lanes, even if it is pretty small. Well, not the CS, the net worth. The CS is going just fine, but yeah, Na'Vi laning stage, they've got a 1k gold lead already.
Yeah, we finally get our 2-1-2 lane. Sweden Strong is back up to top. As we see Old 11 starting to get himself up there with the XP. DY already level 3, while the Enigma is a couple of creeps short. And V-Tune trying to clear through some of those Eidolons, but good little bit of micro there. Just Old 11 walking it back.
Died in trouble top.
Oh, the razors have already come out. Lou has another one and a final touch. Ooh, the Kraken Shell damage block. He's got this ring of protection, but the final raise comes back off cooldown. And Lou with the first blood.
Yeah, just you hit enough of these raises and poor Tide, not something you can really resist. And he's going for this fast hood, but he was just about a couple hundred gold short of the cloak to complete it. So if he has a hood there, he can definitely survive against the Shadow Fiend. But until he does, there is that potential for kills to come in on top of him.
Yeah, the double melee lane here against an SF Earth Spirit. PYW has got his level, so he's able to get in on top of them if they do show their faces again. I'm just going to miss out on a stun in mid. Does have a bottled water rune, so plenty of sustain there to stick around as this Paparazzi.
Yeah, small edge going no one's lane, as you'd kind of expect in the Lesh versus Ember. Ember doing what he can, spamming the slide, kind of treating it like the puck matchup where you just max out Slide of Fist, get the early Blightstone, and then Orb of Corrosion, and just harass as much as possible.
Yeah, when you're level 6, might even look for that kill opportunity. Keeping Leshrac within that kind of kill threshold where he's close to death, or one rotation can make the difference, but also the fact that no one with level 2 Edict, he kind of wants to be moving forward aggressively, diving. Yeah, with this damage, Paparazzi is going to get caught out here. Does pop his stick, has a Fairy Fire to play with. One more Split Earth is coming though, slows him down, but the roll in. PYW stops them in their tracks. They don't get the kill on Ember, and they'll have to take down the Earth Spirit instead. PYW with the saves.
Good job saving his buddy there. No one was just going to kind of chase him down. Even without the level 6, with the Nyx TP, no one made a really nice play, catching him under, like, near the tower with a Lightning Storm into Split Earth, and with a TP in, it was going to be a kill with the chase down. So, Earth Spirit kind of saving the day a little bit. Paparazzi's now level 6. And just an unexpected move. Normally you're thinking, like, Lesh is going to try kill you level 6. To do it at level 5 was something that Paparazzi wasn't quite ready for.
Yeah, just that little bit of an edge there. There's no one. Runes. Bottles the arcane. DY gonna feel the full strength of this Leshrac at level 6. Paparazzi gonna have to remnant away. Sweden Strong does land the stun, but no real follow through with no one so low on HP and mana.
Yeah, fortunately for no one, the rune did spawn on top of him bottom. Otherwise, that could have been a bit precarious for him if he doesn't have that extra bit of regen plus the arcane rune to play around for that fight. But he's a bit too low here to kind of stick around. So it looks like he's gonna head back to the jungle and kind of give up this mid lane to Paparazzi for the time being.
Do you remember how the bounty rune started? Was it 2 for 2? Because since
3 for 1 maybe.
What, Na'Vi advantage?
Yeah, Na'Vi advantage. They got at least 2 on Na'Vi, maybe 3.
Yeah, because since then Na'Vi have had like every bounty rune.
Okay, well, that's where they're getting their gold lead from, because yeah, it's Radiant cores you're on top, but the dire supports have gotten some good bounty rune money.
He gets him. Requiem and the raises from Lou find the Nyx Assassin, as Na'Vi were the ones trying to get in on top of that Shadow Fiend. And Paparazzi in the mid lane, trying to bully back no one here. Yeah, Solo's going to TP away from PYW and DY as there was a long chase down in that bottom jungle as well. Na'Vi kind of dragging Xtreme from one side of the map to the other, and continuing their focus on this mid lane for no one to build himself up on his Lesh. I would love to see some stacks for him at some point as well.
And we're seeing the lanes kind of dissolve a bit here. Na'Vi swap things up. They send the Drow top to Tide bottom, but Old 11 says, okay, I'm going to follow you. He just TPs up top, meets him, and no one.
He gets rolled on and says, oh, yeah, come on then. Let's see what you got.
Always a little bit scary rolling on a Leshrac. This is one hero that's a little bit less scared of the Earth Spirit than most.
Yeah, just press all your buttons and see what happens.
Yeah.
And you've got the backup of Sweden Strong as well to kind of chain stun with a Split Earth, which is really nice to have.
8-minute rune coming up, and I guess the downside for no one's Leshrac is he didn't really have the health on mana to stick around to fight over the runes. Just an illusion though, so luckily not something that Paparazzi can do too much damage with. Down bottom.
Oh, onto Lays again. PYW.
Okay.
He was trying to get in front for body blocks, but lays with that hood.
Yeah.
And walk it back. He's holding a point as well, considering if he wants to level up that Ravage, if they're going to use it in the next minute or so. It doesn't look like Na'Vi are going to be amassing their forces bottom, though. They, again, just TP back into mid. They hold out on top. Keep the Lesh and the Drow farming, because they are the key elements here in terms of damage for them.
Get the stomp on 11, but it doesn't look like Vici had any interest on going in, particularly with a black hole available, so... Down bottom instead, yep.
There's the roll back in. He levels Ravage. He's thinking about it. Will get it out there, and SF gonna get chain stunned up by no one. Sweden strong with an impale too. Beautifully executed by Na'Vi, while V-Tune is rotated down here as well. They bring everyone, bar Solo, down to this bottom lane and utilize that Ravage to perfection.
Just great bait. The Tide there was ready for it. He even pump faked it once, knowing that he wanted to make sure the Leshrac was in range to get the chain stun off for the Ravage, so perfect execution. They may lose Solo with Paparazzi rotating up top, unless Solo can find a way to TP himself out of here, but Na'Vi will be thrilled with the result.
Yeah, there's no point in chain, so Solo might have been able to go for a TP there. But old 11, he'll arrive, Malefice, make sure it doesn't happen. But while that kill on Solo happens, they've got the tier 1 claim down bottom lane with a nice wave arriving as well. Na'Vi have complete control of that bottom jungle, and more bounty runes for them as well.
Yeah, yeah, you were saying. They love their bounty runes, and they're going to keep finding them and picking a few more up. It's still an Xtreme Gaming side who are only down 1k gold and had pretty good lanes and farm on all 3 of their cores. If anything, the lane swap paid off for them. Like, you see the Tide a bit under-farmed, and the Hood keeps them alive against SF, but it doesn't allow you to farm still. Anytime you go up, you get double raise. Yeah, you don't take too much damage, but you just can't compete for last hits against the Shadow Fiend.
Hey, is he going to go into the Wraith Pact? It looks like Enigma's going for one. Is that Tidehunter's plan as well?
Yeah, he's got it queued. Oh, I guess he's got just the Vlad's queued up for now. I think you want to go for it with this game. Like, you're playing around Leshrac Drown, trying to hit this kind of mid-game, like, big teamfight timing. Take Roshan and kind of snowball from there. I think Wraith Pact kind of fits that pretty well.
I guess it works a little better when you've got that Death Ball as well. Rather than having the Blink Ravage, you want to be grouped as 5 and playing these kind of honest head-on team fights against Xtreme. Because you know that Enigma's doing the same thing, no Blink, going for the Wraith Pact, so there's no surprise initiation from either team at this point. Xtreme doing a good job, though, just safeguarding the triangle for the Shadow Fiend by placing heroes mid and top. Enigma, one of the best heroes, just shoving out that top lane as a Radiant team, along with Beastmasters and stuff like that.
Always feels nice when you can do it without putting your hero in any danger, and they've given up their own jungle kind of as a consequence of this. PYW is kind of in the area with an Observer Ward, but unable to really come in and stop no one from just stealing all this farm. This is just Na'Vi doing a good job understanding how strong they are and that they can kind of really invade and take over this part of the map and force Xtreme Gaming just to farm their triangle area.
Well, I look at their logo and I think Unique as well from time to time.
I see for some reason my brain saw XG and thought it was UG. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. When Unique was a CIS team, wasn't it? So it's like Na'Vi against Unique. that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, look. The brain's still waking up a bit today. We'll get there.
Oh, fully understandable. A little pause in play, though, as Xtreme just going to farm themselves away. Na'Vi doing the exact same thing. And showing PYW bottom, old 11. He's going to wander into the jungle and see Sweden strong. He pops his Wraith Pact. Thinking about the go here.
Get out of our jungle, they say.
Yeah. 4 heroes surrounding him. Down goes the Nyx Assassin, but Na'Vi starting to move quickly out across the map. TP up top, they saw the Shadow Fiend, but he's pig-poling out of there.
Yeah, the second they bring that many heroes to their Radiant jungle, you're like, okay, that means Dire jungle should be ours. So, Solo goes up there with the no one Leshrac, and they can kind of farm out their jungle pretty safely, but definitely showing that they're not willing to take the full-on team fight in that, into the Wraith Pact. I think timing particularly, it's just so much damage mitigation that much safer to kind of wait for some of your own timings.
Oh, this Radiant ward down bottom in that. Yeah, nice little spot. Sees them all coming, sees them all TPing. And Xtreme, what have they got? They've got a ward. Yeah, they've got 2 wards in their own jungle, kind of scouting out this area as well. Might be thinking about amassing down here and starting a fight. They don't have Shadow Fiend here, but potential for this Enigma with a Black Hole and Paparazzi with a DD rune to do some serious damage. Lays, the first point of contact. V-Tune gonna hold them back with a nice little flurry of multi-shot arrows.
They've killed the Wraith Pact.
And it's down. And old Levin is scrambling away now as Na'Vi, they're charging forward. TPing back in towards mid where no one is getting chased down by Paparazzi and Lou. Looks like he's safe and sound and closing in on his Bloodstone pretty quickly on that lash. Well, Na'Vi, they reapproach this mid lane. Tier 1 is sat just under 400 HP, so plonk the Tide in front of it and get the Drow Ranger hitting away.
Yeah, this frontline Tide has kind of got to that point now, even just with Hood raindrops where there's not a whole lot you can do about him. And if you have a Drow behind him, right-clicking towers, you don't want to go on the Tide, you have to find a way to the backlines, and the only way to really easily do that is with some kind of smoke, and that's exactly what Xtreme Gaming have in mind. They're trying to make a bit of a play here, but Solo's in the perfect position to kind of pop this one.
Yeah, roll doesn't quite connect. PYW, he's giving vision for the glimpse back. So with the 4 heroes there, they'll claim the life of Solo.
Not really. I mean, that's getting nothing really to me. Like, that's, I think, a bit of what we saw yesterday with Xtreme Gaming. Sometimes some of these smoke moves are just not quite connecting the way they would like, whether it's smoking at like an awkward time outside of their item timings, or in this case, just kind of forcing a 4-man smoke. And obviously, credit to Solo. Like, he's positioned to kind of catch that one and tank the gank for his team.
Yeah, and it's also Radiant team, like, okay, it's only 15 minutes in, but Radiant team kind of playing down into the bottom lane often feels kind of awkward, right?
Oh, for sure. Like, it just isn't an area of the map where, like, even if they kill a core there, it's like there's not a whole lot of, like, plays to be made to follow it up. Maybe they kind of go for that tier 1 mid tower, but the mid lane was pushing out, so definitely an awkward play.
Yeah, 5 heroes following bottom jungle as Xtreme, while Na'Vi spread pretty wide across the map. And now regrouping, looking like they want to make a smoke themselves. What do we have here in terms of item timings? No one's Bloodstone's done.
Nope.
Eyeballing
this Radiant triangle. They were hoping someone might be farming these Ancients, but they can just settle for getting some vision down perhaps and maybe farming a bit out themselves. They'd love a kill on Paparazzi mid.
Oh, the gust. It comes, and the Ravager's there too. He's stunned and silenced, and that Split Earth lands right in the nick of time from no one. PYW is going to roll away, but that was so well executed.
It really was. DY, I think, got off the best imaginable Static Storm to try and counterplay it to stop the chain stun from happening, but he preemptively gusted on V-Tune to almost stop the Ravage follow-up, basically allowing him to kind of remnant out. So great play coming in from Na'Vi to get a big key kill.
Xtreme trying to strike back. A Black Hole onto the Tide, but as a Tide without Ravage, I think Laze is going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, like one of these Black Holes where he's not going to find a real good opening to use it anyways. Like, you're playing against a Drow who you're never getting on top of. Lestrack's usually sitting far back, so probably worth using, but yeah, like, totally agree. Na'Vi don't really probably care too much about that. They're going to be respawning. They can maybe go for tier 1 top tower. They can go for Roshan. They're probably feeling incredibly strong right now, knowing that Black Hole is down and Tide's going to be coming back with a completed Wraith Pact and soon Blink Dagger.
Yeah. Yeah, he's huge. So coming back to no one, this Bloodstone, it's had a few changes over the past couple of years. What are your thoughts of the newish Bloodstone? I don't know, I'm going to be honest. What are your thoughts, Garrett? What are your thoughts I miss charges. My main thing is I missed the little number in the corner that said I've got 60 charges on my Bloodstone.
The little dopamine you get when your charges keep going up and up and up.
Feels good.
You have a game where you get like 30 plus charges and you screenshot it to post on Facebook afterwards.
Yeah, I do miss that. Oh, Solo. What's he up to? He's tanking a gank again, but he's pretty tanky. Raindrops, fluffy hat, 16-1 charges to play with as well. Another roll, another glimpse, but mistimed and not synchronized. Xtreme going to let him slip away.
Solo's just being a nuisance this game. In the right places, and like his deaths are just the most acceptable deaths for a 5 position. He's only died twice, and once was the top lane, then he tanked a 4-man smoke gank. He's just getting all the intel for his team about where Xtreme Gaming are playing on the map.
Yeah, they're all down bottom. And Solo might be able to hold back this push on his own. A Spirit. I'll look for the stomp in a second. Kind of wants to find a hero. And there's no one showing, though, as Xtreme do come back up top to try and quell the push that Na'Vi were building up. At this point, it feels like if Na'Vi just get one kill on a core, they are quickly into Roshan. They're in the right area of the map. They are set up for it. And PYW, he gets a little roll away, but Sweden Strong in the right place here to set up for it. Kill off the Earth Spirit. Not a core kill, so no Roche, but it's still Na'Vi in that right area.
Nyx looked really good this tournament, like as a hero. Like I feel like we saw a lot of Team Secret playing with Zayats on Nyx, and it's just these skill setup. Like Nyx players are just getting so much better at playing around any enemy sentry ward placements and not just running into dumb places on the map and feeding. You know, you have to be patient, and so far we've seen a really good job by Sweden Strong to kind of set up a number of kills for the team.
Yeah, because it's that invisibility factor as well, right? You're forcing your opponents to spend all this money and time to buy and place the sentries. Yeah. You need to see that Nyx coming, or else that happens. You get caught and killed.
Smoke up. They want to contest this Roche attempt. Na'Vi, I think seeing so many heroes missing they're getting cold feet about the idea of Roshan, but may still want to take a fight. Double damage on Ember Spirit is spooky, though. That's a lot of damage this Ember can dish out in a team fight.
Another DD. I mean, there's no black hole for 30 seconds, so I think Xtreme here kind of hoping that things bear out a little bit, but the Blink Ravage from Lay straight onto the SF, and they're going to look to blow up Blue, but he gets off the BKB in the wand. Requiem out now, the Static Storm, and they've killed the Nyx. Lay's now trapped up on this high ground, and no way for Na'Vi to close the gap. Two heroes down, and they're looking to grab Solo as well. Chains glimpse back into the waiting arms of Lu, who takes a double kill. Now Roshan is open for them, but they're not going into the pit.
Yeah, I think these death timers just maybe a little bit too low. If it's SF, there's a DD, sure, but I think they're just a little bit lacking on damage and also nobody to tank it. So great fight for Xtreme Gaming. They'll just happily walk away, and, you know, SF getting his BKB off. They just didn't, the Ravage follow-up damage just wasn't quite enough. And once he got that BKB off plus his wand and just turns in Requiem, suddenly the fight is heavily lost. Like, you can basically, the Ravage was used just to try and kill an SF. It clipped a couple heroes on the outskirts like the Disruptor, but that wasn't enough to win Na'Vi the fight.
Yeah, now we're looking at a black hole being up, Ravage being down, a bit of a window here for Xtreme. I kind of want to wait out this BKB cooldown of Shadow Fiend before they actually go and actively make a move. That's where DY just going to sit and hold the triangle for him. V2 farming the opposing Ancients as well, grabbing some of these tier 2 neutral items now. That's a full Hurricane Pike on V2, in fact. So no BKB for him coming. Going into Manta next.
Yeah, I think this is... I don't think the BKB is super essential this game. Because you're playing so much in the backlines and you have such a good kind of front line from your teammates. Oh, our Spirit's going to scout some heroes out here. But yeah, I think with this like triple melee, bruiser teammates who can kind of frontline, it's almost better that he goes from this more kind of utility approach.
No, they just miss out with that sentry. Observer ward just atop the staircase, not going to get scouted. And there was a little moment there. I love it when it happens, but V2 and no one were in step together. Like, they actually turned at the exact same time, like perfectly synchronized when they were moving forward, moving back. Whoever's making the calls, or just innate understanding of what your teammates are doing.
See if Na'Vi are going to make any kind of next big move. That first attempt to try and set themselves up for a Roshan fight backfired pretty heavily, but with Ravage back up, possibility is once again there for them to try and make that next big play.
And just catch up Solo. Nice bit of damage from Lu, but not quite enough to finish him off. Wow, yeah. Astral Titan buff giving him that little bit of move speed to get away from danger, while all 11 sniped out by the remaining members of Na'Vi down in that bottom jungle.
Yeah, it's a bit greedy farming there alone and trying to finish that BKB, whereas you're playing into Nyx Assassin, you don't have those like Observer plus Sentry kind of traps lane, or at least like, you need those entry points to your jungle covered so you see Nyx coming, and Radiant jungle down bottom is dark because they're prioritizing Roche as they should. Most of their vision's on this top side of the map, but once Enigma goes down, even just for like 25 seconds, that gives Na'Vi the window to take Roshan for themselves.
Yeah, that's the core kill they needed. Now, I mean, do we give Aegis to the Drow, or is this a Leshrac Aegis? It feels like no one's going to be the frontliner here, but it looks like V2 maybe a little bit afraid of the potential for Ember Spirit and Enigma to jump on top of him. Does grab it up.
I think he's just the one that can dish out a bit more damage in a fight, and it's going to be so important to address like the BKB Shadow Fiend. Vici being able to play kind of, you know, a bit more aggressively and on the front lines to dish out damage is going to be pretty nice for them, considering he's itemized, you know, more offensive, like mix of utility and offensive, but you know, he hasn't gone for that BKB as mentioned, so
yeah,
a lot of damage can come out from this Drow.
I guess no one's probably feeling invulnerable with Plate Mail, Yules, Bloodstone, a backup, a Tide in the Nyx with a couple of Ravages.
Yeah, I think he's pretty happy with where his game, I mean, he hasn't died all game, so I mean, save for the Drow Ranger, but just generally speaking, Drow's going to feel a whole lot more squishy, and like you have to be very careful with your positioning. Leshrac, you're like, yeah, I'm just going to run it.
Yeah. Charge forward. Strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Old Levin is showing again on this bottom lane. He's going to see V-Tune and Laze arriving. A bit of a wraparound from Nyx Assassin. No Blink Dagger yet. I think it's coming out on Courier for Sweden Strong. Yeah, unfortunately, won't find the catch.
You have to respect the Nyx Assassin. Like, you can't stand between that tier 2 and tier 3 tower. You have to, you know, hug your buildings, and they do see him making a move. So Sweden Strong getting some good intel about where this Enigma's moving. They see the rest of the team up top, so they know they can take this fight with Enigma not here. They're trying to now force the engagement here.
Well, they got the vision. Glimpse on no one's going to drag him back down to bottom, though. Sweden Strong and Lane still fighting this PYW Earth Spirit, who will roll off to the right-hand side. Can they catch up to him? Doesn't look like it. A very good glimpse as DY getting battered down by V-Tune, so at least something going Na'Vi's way there. As Xtreme scramble back to hold the high ground of their triangle, get behind that top tier 1. Yeah, it's not over yet, though. Lou, the Requiem, very well placed onto the Nyx, gets the takedown on him.
That's the Observer Sentry combos. You want to put your sentries near your Observer wards when you're playing against Nyx, so you can just kind of see him making these moves, and SF was just ready for it on the high ground. Na'Vi's still with an Aegis, though, so they're still going to try and push down this top lane, trading, you know, Nyx for Disruptor. They're not going to feel too bad about, but they'd love to get a bit more with Aegis in their side.
Yeah, I think one of the key things is they defended that tier 2, right? They get the one bottom, so they grab the outpost, and they defend their own outpost in the process.
Here we go, Xtreme Gaming. They've got this Enigma BKB now. One of the things we touched a bit upon during the draft is just this, lack of BKB Black Hole canceling, so not something like you can rely on like an Earth Split or anything for, so.
Is the answer like Drow Ranger Basher? Or do you just tank the Black Hole when it comes?
Yeah, I think it's positioning.
EYW straight in onto Solo. A lot of damage. That break, the Silver Edge hit, takes him down, but again, it's just the trade. 1 for 1.
See if they can charge forward, going for more. They need to be careful. The Radiant Vision with that ward on the high ground has just given Xtreme Gaming all of these kind of aggressive plays that they can make. Unfortunately, trading support's not quite the outcome they were hoping for. But until they get this Enigma Blink, it isn't easy for them to find these black holes. I think kind of to go what you're saying, I think for Na'Vi, they're basically saying, we don't care if no one's Leshrac gets black hole because he's going to be in the front. As long as you push your buttons, you've got Pulse Nova on, Edict, you're getting black hole. Like, no one getting black hole is almost like a good outcome. And if Drow's positioned far enough back, you just need to make it so that Enigma can never blink on top of the Drow. So, you know, Leshrac gets black hole, Drow just right-clicks the Enigma and, you know, shreds through him.
Yeah, and I feel like often we look at these kind of games where there is an Enigma, Shadow Fiend, we talk about the scaling into late game, and Na'Vi, we touched on how they kind of wanted to snowball out of the lanes and get the job done in the first 20-25 minutes, but it doesn't feel like they lack in scaling themselves. Drow, Lesh, even this Elder Titan, I think they do pretty decently going into late game. As Na'Vi move down south.
Both teams kind of know where each other is. Xtreme Gaming, they, you know, 3-man retook the outpost. Meanwhile, Na'Vi just dewarded, so there is a sense of what the other team is doing here as Na'Vi try and venture off Ultra on the map. There's no real farm to be made. Venturing into a pretty kind of dark place on the map wasn't something they wanted to do, so they're going to take these Ancients, bottle up double damage on Drow Ranger. They'd love to take a fight where they're playing around Vision or a high ground.
That's huge. Like, both teams are looking for these high ground wards, right? Bottom jungle, there's 2 of them there, and PYW straight in onto V-Tune's DD rune.
Yeah, he's just rolling across the map alone there, and Na'Vi are like, oh, okay. I think V-Tune was expecting more because he popped that DD as if a team fight was about to break out, but With Aegis expiring, I'm not sure Na'Vi can get too much beyond maybe this top tier 2 tower here, which is definitely worth taking, and something that feels pretty low risk here with no one in position to defend it.
Yeah, like Lu showed bottom lane. I think the dire ward they had in that bottom jungle, it did expire, but it might have caught a glimpse of the remaining members of XG.
Get cold feet though, BKB on no one with the edict. I don't know if that was a misclick or what, but
it
pushes over. All it took was a glyph and maybe a misclick BKB for things to very quickly end for Na'Vi.
And everyone's on edge. You know, 11 to 11. We're 30 minutes in. There's not a net worth difference to be seen. Absolutely even between these two teams, and it's going to come down to these team fights, the execution, the vision, who can get that jump in, and who can be more patient with these spells like Ravage and Black Hole against BKBs. Try and wait them out in these team fights. We're closing in on Blink Enigma too. He's 700 gold away.
Yeah, it's going to be, even as I mentioned, like Na'Vi have ways to play against the Black Hole without canceling it. It's still scary. Like the damage output, if you get the Midnight Pulse down with it, it adds up quickly. And there's no guarantees you save the less track during that Black Hole, for example.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and thinking it'd be kind of nice to see. Oh, XG already have a gem? Are they okay? They already have it. Never mind. Paparazzi, who's got it? Well, no one just kills PYW again in that top lane. Just rolling around trying to find where Na'Vi are.
Yeah, this Earth Spirits, I think, just playing a bit too solo and a bit too aggressively. 7 deaths on PYW. It's definitely adding up, and every time he dies, it just allows Na'Vi to play like very aggressively. Like there's no fear of initiation really when he's out of the picture. At least not until this Enigma gets a Blink Dagger.
He's 100 gold away now. Needs a little more cash. But yeah, great to see both teams buying these kind of 30-minute gems, remove the vision. Very important for Xtreme as well against 2 Invis heroes now. Nyx plus the Shadow Blade on Drow. Try and keep tabs on them in the team fight, see where that initiation's coming from. They've equally got a Silver Edge on Lu. And primarily the dewarding game through the gems.
Tide's got the BKB queued up just to address some of like the static storm and a lot of this. He wants to make sure he gets off his spells.
Make damn sure. I mean, we're not gonna see an Anghenims on this Disruptor anytime soon, are we? Even with a Philosopher's Stone, he's got 1,000 gold saved up.
Yeah, not anytime soon, but
eventually.
Yeah, it's one of those things like he can maybe disassemble and go for an Aeon Dis. It's like, do you prioritize like the late game or getting something that will help you right now? So curious to see where they go with this as a smoke from Xtreme Gaming. You see the Tidehunter mid, and they're gonna glimpse back and go for this kill.
He's dropping watermelons everywhere. Half HP from the big hit out of the SF. And Lay's blown up while Paparazzi chases in onto the Nyx Assassin. A quick couple of kills. XG, a minute away from Roche respawning, do get the takedowns. They can't easily convert this into a tier 1. They're thinking about going up this high ground again. You've got to be wary, though. Na'Vi are still in the area.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, yeah, they'd love a early Roche respawn here, going for it with 20 seconds plus on 2 heroes dead, but no Roshan to grab, and Na'Vi will get a chance to reset. But really, the good news for Xtreme Gaming is also that they just don't overcommit. They only use Static Storm as far as their ultis go. So you got to imagine Na'Vi when they respawn, they're going to be prioritizing the Roche area, trying to get a good smoke gank into a pick off into a Roche, and Xtreme Gaming will be ready to take a fight.
Yeah, like the combination of Static Storm and Silver Edge against this Tide, he's not tanky at all.
Oh yeah, he melts. Like no armor items. That's the big one. Like you can get this BKB, but a Shadow Fiend who goes in with a BKB is gonna kill you in like maybe 7 or 8 right clicks.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty. Oh, Roche coming up in 5 seconds now. Silver Edge completed on the Drow. Na'Vi positioning themselves, but no real vision for them. A couple of high ground wards here for Xtreme around the pit on their side of the river. That's what they'll try and play around here, sitting under it, waiting to see if Na'Vi are smoking towards their side of the river.
They've scouted out Roshan's respawn. Na'Vi haven't, but it was like a minute and a half, so they're gonna know. Okay, they're gonna scout it now with the ET. So the team's aware of its potential following a team fight to give someone a big advantage. This Aegis is going to be a much more important one than the last one, particularly if Na'Vi get their hands on it. It does feel like they're at that point where they've hit all their kind of key items and they would be ready to, you know, take all these out of towns and even threaten high ground with an Aegis.
Yeah, it's so incredibly scary. Like, even outside of the gems, like you're saying, both teams have ways to break vision or give that little bit of information to them for the initiations, whether it's Eidolons or a Thunderstrike or an ET Spirit, next Assassin Invis and hunting as well.
Yeah.
Tons of ways to get in there.
Feels
See
like
where your opponents are.
Yeah. The big problem here for me is going to be this Ember Spirit in the late game. Like, I just don't feel like Na'Vi are going to be able to easily address him unless they can hit like a carapace on something, but I just don't think Ember's not going to let that happen. He's got the gem, so there's no sneaking up on the Ember, and there's no like insta stun or disable that you can rely on. So basically, Ember's going to be able to get all his spells off every fight, jump the back lines, and with an Aghanim Scepter now, he does a lot of damage in these fights.
Oh, it sure does. I feel like, you know, back in the day, we'd be saying Blink Ravage can do that, but players now are just so fast at pressing buttons.
Yeah.
You get that BKB off as soon as you see the Tide jumping in on top of you. Xtreme, though, they are smoked and looking. Lay's going to break it. Good positioning from him, but the damage is going to come. Static Storm's there. Nick's Assassin battered down by Lose SF, and now the right click's pummeling into the Tide. Na'Vi with a double buyback, knowing they have to fight around this Roshan. They're looking for more, but the roll away and the glimpse back allows Xtreme to run away. As no one, he just dives in with a black hole. It's there, landing onto the Leshrac. Stun back on the PYW. Oh, the Yules. No one's up in the air, but he's going to come down with a dies to the rest of them, but Lays, the Ravage and the Gust, they're going to chain disable, silence up the Ember, attempts to TP, but the damage from Drow, it's too much to handle. Na'Vi with the buybacks get a big team fight victory, and Roshan looks like it's theirs to claim.
Yeah, unless Ember wants to buy back for this, but they've got no ultimates. They'll lose more, they'll lose DY2. This is definitely Na'Vi's, and that's the big thing for Xtreme Gaming is it's the cooldown dependence. Like, they use a big cooldown, and that's where Na'Vi, the answer to big teamfight ultimates in mid to late game Dota is always going to be buybacks or Aegis, because, you know, you're going to lose the initial teamfight. Like, one-man black hole on a Leshrac, that's a totally acceptable black hole for Xtreme Gaming. The problem is you need to find a way to disengage once those buybacks come in. Ember thought he had a TP out. If he TP's out there, you're happy with the outcome, even if you lose Roshan, but multiple big kills go Na'Vi's way on top of the Aegis.
Yeah, we see this Drow Ranger damage with that Elder Titan Spirit on top of people. Yeah. I mean, the Spirit gives the magic, right? And the hero itself has to be nearby for the base armor reduction, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, you can see this fight here. I mean, it starts off great. You know, Ember goes in. The problem is not just the spell cooldown, but also the BKB cooldown. So Ember had to instantly BKB when they ran to the Tide Hunter because, you know, he doesn't want to get ravaged and blown up. And then as a result, there's no way to continue this team fight. All they can do is just completely, you know, abandon ship here, and Ember wasn't able to get out. Whoa, SF.
Yeah, back in real time. Okay. Shadow Fiend gets killed off. He had a wicked 6 streak, so that's 1,500 gold going to V2, and that's halfway to his next item now.
Yeah, this is just the Nyx Assassin effect, just hunting around the map. He set up for the Drow Ranger who, you know, did most of the dirty work as far as the damage goes, but great job hunting down some of these kills, and I feel like that's 35 minutes in the game, a hero like your most farmed core should not be dying alone on the map.
Oh, now the Enigma got stomped up by Solo. He scouted old 11, gets off the BKB, but doesn't get away. 2 huge core kills in a row here from Na'Vi as they move in towards mid-tier 2, and maybe even start thinking about high ground with this Drow Aegis.
Neither with buyback. This is pretty inexcusable for Xtreme Gaming to have 2 big cores die solo on the map at 36 minutes into the game. Your opponents have Aegis. They're going to be looking to make those aggressive plays and to try and force a high ground push, and all of a sudden, Xtreme Gaming, they're going to have to give up at least 1 lane, maybe 2 lanes of Rex.
Yeah, I mean, mid-tier 2 is being shoved in. Drow Ranger has that fresh BKB now as well, so Vtune has even more safety in these fights just to stand his ground. And Sweden Strong trying to scurry around, scout people out. As a full lane falls.
The Glyph did defend mid, so tier 2 tower in both mid and top is going to prevent Na'Vi getting a second lane of racks, at least without a fight, because Xtreme Gaming will have all 5 alive for a potential high ground defense here.
And Enigma will have that blink. Black hole, but no BKB for 20 seconds. Let's see what Xtreme can do as Na'Vi They shift into mid, get the tier 2. Aegis in Drow's hands for 2.5 more minutes. Now, it looks like they're going to shift across the map here with no one's boots of travels. Push out that top wave, connect with the other 4 heroes, hold this high ground area near the Ancients.
Yeah, this could very quickly become one. I mean, they've already got a lane of racks, but an Aegis where, you know, they went from a pretty even game, a couple thousand gold lead, to like a 15,000 gold lead. They've got full control of the map. They've got the vision down in the bottom Radiant jungle. They've got controlling the Radiant triangle. They're taking all these outer towers, and they're getting all these big next level of items out, like the Drow's Butterfly. The Tide's going to have a shard to go with his BKB. Leshrak's about to finish a Wind Waker, which gives them maybe an answer to, you know, saving somebody who gets Black Holed, although, as we saw last fight, it may just be no one himself getting Black Holed, particularly when Wind Waker comes online.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, another tier 2 for Na'Vi. I'm being very patient about their move next, though. And not charging towards high ground, always respecting this Black Hole, the Ember Slight spam. Great ways for Xtreme to hold high ground and defend.
This is on the prowl.
BKB.
Can find elsewhere.
Paparazzi pops it. And he's a little afraid of what was coming, and in the mid lane, Sweden strong. He finds the grab on PYW. The Disruptor shredded by the Drow. V-Tune, just a couple of quick hits in, kills both supports. Whew. And they've still got Ravage, they've still got BKBs, and they've still got Aegis for a minute.
Yeah. They may be enough, even it being just supports, for them to consider going for some kind of a high ground push.
Yeah, I mean, old Levin and Lou giving a few clicks onto the Drow. But even if they claim this Aegis, she's going to come back with full HP, and in comes no one. Trying to get towards that Ember Spirit. Paparazzi remnanting around while no one, down to half health. Did use his BKB and the Bloodstone, so full retreat for Na'Vi now. This is the chance for Xtreme to chase. Lays, he gets a good stun, but the Black Hole comes. Old 11 catches the 2 cores. In we go, and is he on disc popped? Trying to retreat now, though, as Lou and Paparazzi couldn't get on top of the Drow, and Vici just opens up on them. Requiem gonna fear back the Drow for now. 10 seconds on the Aegis remaining, and Na'Vi buying back with a Ravage from Lays. They want to continue. V-Tune opens up again and continues this beyond godlike streak while no one. He was diving. He knows where Lou is, but can't keep going. Respecting the tier 4s, going for Paparazzi instead with the Drow cast. They get him. A triple for V-Tune, and no buybacks outside of the Ember Spirit here for Xtreme.
I don't know if they can defend this one. This could just be it. Na'Vi going for the killing blow here, looking for that last lane of racks, and just an Ember buyback doesn't feel like it's going to be enough.
Oh, Lou. Scardy's slow. Manta out from V-Tune. Doesn't have BKB, but the Silver Edge going to give him a bit of safety. Solo and no one. Bodyguarding the Drow. Getting onto Paparazzi, and he's dead for 100 seconds. Na'Vi looking like they've got game 1 in the bag now. Mega creeps are coming. And Xtreme Gaming call the GGs.
GG. Game 1 goes Na'Vi's way. And honestly, like, what ballsy game from Na'Vi. They weren't afraid to make some of these plays. It did drag maybe a bit further than they were